Welcome everyone to the Newmarket Energy Environment Advisory Committee meeting of September 25th. In-house we have Patrick, Juliana, Joe Lamatino, and Bill Wiley. We'll say we have a quorum, okay? And special guest star is Lindsay Butler, the town engineer. So, the first item on the, I'm going to skip around on the agenda, but basically the first item I have is just to go over some statistics for community power. These are as of this particular one is as of September, but there are some that I'll show that are as of the end of July. Participation summary in Newmarket has 5,582 total electric accounts in the town. There are 3,910 that are on Newmarket Community Power, which is basically 70% of the town is on Newmarket Community Power. Of that 3,910, 3,751 are on the default Granite Basic, 18 are on the Granite Plus, 141 are, whoops, I'm sorry, I take that back. There were 3,751 that are on Granite Basic. We've had 18 people that have, in the last month, have opted up, or since the last couple of months. We have 141 that have opted in, and we've had 62 people that have opted out. Monthly actions. Oops. Okay, so as of September 1, there are now 3,910 accounts. We're still 70% of the accounts. For the change from last month through September, we had 16 people opt in, 7 people have opted up during August, and 82 are unenrolled. And what the unenrolled is basically people that have moved out of town, or for some reason or other, that they've closed their account for some reason or other. Okay. The other statistic I want to share with everybody is one of the things we're doing is the Seacoast Energy Challenge, which is where we're trying to get people to opt up to a higher level of clean energy. The contest actually started August 1st. So as of August, we had 7 people. During the month of August, we had 7 people that have opted up to a higher category of renewable energy. You have to be careful about that term. So basically, if we start in August, which is when the contest was supposed to start, Newmarket is technically in the lead as far as getting people to opt up. We have 7. Portsmouth has 6. Portsmouth has basically 3 times the number of people that we have, 4 times. Okay. So, questions, comments on statistics?
Are there any statistics for how many people have not enrolled because they have solar panels?
No, I don't have that.
Since some people do, we're actually doing better than most statistics. People do solar panels, they can't afford to opt in.
All I can tell you is that
Some of us, so we must be doing better than most statistics.
where are we here? Where is that statistic? Okay. All I can tell you is that, like I say, is there are 5,582 total accounts, and 3,910 3,910 are participating, 70%, that the difference there, you know, could be anything, could be number of people have solar panels,
Sure, yeah.
could be large accounts,
Yeah, that's pretty
business
good.
accounts. But the average across all of community power, which currently has like 60-something communities, the average is 68.1%, we're 70%. Okay. The other thing I wanted to talk about was, okay, this is what we call the Community Benefit Report. Now keep in mind, Newmarket went live in March. Okay, this one was approved, but that's when Eversource took the last reading. So really, people started in April. This report is as of the end of July. From April to July, the difference in pricing between Community Power and Eversource during that time period was ½ cent. As of August 1st through January, it's like 2½ cents, so it'll be significantly more of a saving. But basically, from April through the end of July, Newmarket had $629,000 in electric revenue that went to Community Power. The cost of that electricity, because the rate period actually ran from January through July, Community Power had to go out and purchase a bunch of electricity so that when we came online, it would be there. So they actually spent $768,000 for electricity for Newmarket, but Newmarket contributed $629,000. So our reserves as of the end of July were basically a negative $139,000. But you know, that will greatly increase over the next 6 months. It'll go into the positive sides here. If you do look at just comparing Newmarket rate for Community Power compared to what the rates would have been under Eversource, Newmarket residents saved from April, May, June, July, for 4 months, they saved over $14,000 in savings. Okay. If you look at some of the other towns that have been around for longer, you see that you know, their savings are for Dover $750,000. If you take into account the total savings, what they've contributed to reserves, and what they have contributed or received by saving compared to other towns, you know, compared to Eversource. I'm sorry. So like in Dover, the individuals saved $750,000. They went live in October of last year. They saved $750,000 in total. The benefit to the community, if you take into what they've contributed to reserves, as well as the customer savings, they've got $649,000 in benefit. But again, as time goes on, these numbers are expected to increase.
Boy, the one that really jumps out at you is Exeter. That is a lot of money.
Exeter was one of the very first ones to launch, so they've been in there for over a year and a half now. Okay. Yeah, they've got a larger population. The total energy consumption was 63,000 megawatts compared
Right.
to, say, Newmarket's 7.
But I mean, Portsmouth has more than that too, but yeah, I mean, that's just kind of, I guess it also, they benefited because there was a bigger rate difference during that time period too, between Community Power and Eversource, right? For the people that's joined earlier in 23. I think they were getting 16 cents a kilowatt hour, being charged 16 cents, and
Yes.
the Eversource was like 22, so it was a much bigger gap.
Yep.
Than it was for us when we joined.
Yep, exactly. So overall, I personally feel things are positive as far as community power goes. Community power is working on a couple of things right now to enhance, they're working on a solar panel project. They're looking into, where they're joining with a couple of communities and developing a large solar array. They're looking into that. And they're also looking into doing something with biomass up in Berlin, New Hampshire. So, yeah. The other thing I wanted to share with the group is, this. Is annually, Community Power has to file, do an annual filing that basically says where their electricity is coming from and where they stand as far as their percentages of renewable energy goes. So at the last board meeting, I'm on the board of directors for Community Power. At the last board meeting, this was presented, and I noticed that there was something that I just want to make everybody aware of. That, okay. For 2023, we were telling people that the renewable energy and the clean energy for Granite Basic would be 23.4%. In March of this year, the Department of Energy, which certifies and says what you really have to have, they reduced it from 23.4% for the year 2023. They reduced it down to 16.8%. Basically, the reason they reduced that was because they said that towns didn't need to, or the community didn't need to purchase as much biomass, basically because the biomass wasn't available. I guess the power plant up in Berlin, New Hampshire, wasn't available. So they reduced it in March of this year down to 16.8%, where we've been telling people, hey, it's 23.4%. Just want everybody to be aware of that. We will put out something basically saying, hey, this was something that was done by the Department of Energy, and it not only affects Community Power, but all the power suppliers were supposed to have a certain 23.4% minimum renewable energy, and that was reduced to 16.8%. I did question this with the board, and what Community Power is looking to potentially do for this year is, they haven't agreed to it yet, but they may in fact over-purchase clean energy or renewable energy in these other categories to ensure that we get up to the 23%, or it's actually 24% that we're promising for this year, or saying for this year. But again, that may be changed by the Department of Energy. Questions, comments?
I guess the only surprising thing on there, why is there nothing under nuclear? I mean, don't we have like Seabrook right there? I mean, why wouldn't there be anything reported under nuclear?
That's a good question.
I mean, do they just not sell power to us, or do we not buy power from them?
I can only guess that the nuclear power is going to Eversource, and because they own it, public service. I'm guessing maybe.
No, they don't own it.
But
they don't know any. They don't own any power. Power plants anymore. They decoupled those a few years ago, so you can't own both. But so they don't own it. I thought Entergy owned Seabrook, but I'm not sure exactly who owns it. But yeah, Eversource does not own it.
I thought it was like public utility or public service. I'm sorry. that owned.
It was when that was public service, but remember, public service is no more, so.
I don't know, I will ask that question
Yeah.
and send that out to
I
everybody.
mean, and the other area that really stands out, and I'm guessing it's because of New Hampshire's lack of both wind and solar, those numbers are slow. But, I mean, we're lower, certainly in solar, than everybody else around us. We know that. We're not even close to what other states in New England are doing. And I don't even know how we have any wind, because we don't really have any wind, hardly any.
So-
There's no commercial, big, large wind farms in New Hampshire that I'm aware of.
So Community Power buys electricity gets its power from ISO New England, okay? And where they get their actual electricity from is from a lot of places. So I'm sure they.
So why
they-
why doesn't it represent that mix that we see over there for New England if they're buying it from ISO New England?
I'm sorry, but
So you've got the ISO New England system mix over there, and it's much higher than what we're getting for Granite Basic. Like, it's almost 6% for solar, it's 5% for wind. So, that would be my other question for the board, would be, why can't our numbers, it seems like the numbers, you see 29.4% there under New England, right? That's ISO mix then. So why can't we get closer to that with Granite Basic? That would be my question.
so I'm not sure what system mix is versus residual mix.
Well, I'm assuming that that's what power is coming is in ISO New England. Maybe it comes from outside too, I don't know. Because it is connected to other grids. It's not like it's not a Texas situation where it's got its own grid. We're connected to all the other grids. So we could purchase power as well from New York or anywhere else because we're connected. But obviously it's better if you closer you produce it, the more the power you get, right? Because you lose it in the lines. If you were buying power from, say, the middle of the country, by the time it gets to you, you've lost a lot of it.
So, I don't have an explanation, but here's some definition. System mix is the mix of all generated resources in New England, and residual mix is what remains of the system mix after they've done the accounting for requisitions, which is buying them, what
Yeah.
they need to do for clean power.
So it could be they just can't buy any on the open market.
The residual mix, not the standard mix, is what supplies system power purchases. So the purchases actually come from this. I don't understand why that would be zero. Unless they're shipping all the nuclear out of New England.
I
That
doubt
really-
it. But I know that, like you said, the executive team and board at Community Power, New Hampshire Community Power is looking to, partner where they can to increase the possibility of projects, coming online that they could then buy power from. So hopefully, that'll take a while to happen though. Could take years, so gotta be patient, but. Yeah, I mean, I went to that information meeting, so we got some of that there really isn't, there isn't a lot of wind to buy right now, but part of what they're looking at is obviously if with 40% of the electricity market in New Hampshire, that's a big customer, and they could potentially say, hey, if you build it, we'll buy it kind of deal. So hopefully, you know, as wind gets developed, they'll be able to take advantage of it. Again, it could be years away from happening. Yeah, find out what you can about this solar project too. They didn't mention that at the meeting, but we didn't really get into the weeds there, so maybe that's why, but it'd be nice to know where that's gonna be.
I'm just gonna bring it over here because I don't want to stand. So for master plan update, there's not a whole lot to update. The community workshop was held September 14th. We were competing with a beautiful fall day, so attendance was not what we hoped to see. I think there were, just over 30, I forget the exact number, 30 to 35 residents that signed in and provided some input. So we did get some valuable input there, and the general feedback on the energy poll questions was very positive, and there were a lot of votes for different incentives and project items that residents would support or would use. So I think SRPC is working through, we had a coordination meeting on Monday. They're gathering all the information, kind of aggregating all of the data that they got at the community workshop so that they can provide a little bit of reporting to the various groups that are working on the chapters, and then get into more of the drafting. So more to come. And another general plug, not specific to energy, but environment, the Plan New Hampshire charrette for downtown riverfront area is coming up on October 18th and 19th. I think there are postings and stuff for that. There will be evening hours for general participation. So look for more information on that.
So is that Thursday and Friday?
Friday and Saturday.
Oh, Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, I think it's a Friday evening, and then Saturday. The Friday evening is more information gathering, and then the Plan New Hampshire team is going to work feverishly on Saturday to put together a summary report, and then they'll hold a public information session to kind of provide the feedback and information that they gathered, and that would be on Saturday. General environmental aspects, a lot of focus on riverfront access, environmental concerns, shoreline stabilizations and improvements. So just kind of general plug.
Yeah, I'd say from the Conservation Commission, what does Newmarket want to see
Yeah.
the riverfront look like moving forward? I think it's a great idea Bart had to bring in the community to learn what we want to see down there. So.
Yeah, and and you know, I was kind of talking like riverfront and Shanda Park area, but it's a little bit more broad than that, and also like some economic development and transportation aspects with the general Main Street corridor and potential access to like Heron Point and other conservation areas that are in that downtown vicinity. There'll be maps that show like the parcels and the areas that we're focusing on, and for the various areas that we'd like to get feedback for uses.
Is there any time frame when you might see a draft of
That's a good question. You guys already put together a pretty robust draft, so I think once some of the other chapters get more of an outline, then they'll kind of start to piece together, because a lot of it's the like consistency and formatting and whatnot, so I think seeing a draft before the end of the year is probably what we're targeting. I'm saying that without having actually asked SRPC and the team that's working on it, but I would assume that's the general target because I've heard that with some of the other chapters. Okay, yeah, so I think still on track with that.
Waste management and blue sky, I did not send them to Lindsay and the town manager, so neither of this, I will do that. The town manager is out, but once he should be back before this week,
Monday? I think it's Monday.
I guess on those, maybe by October, November, get that done. We'll set that apart. Something was brought up at September board meeting, and somebody brought up to me when there was, we could do some kind of a rain barrel program for energy and environment or conservation commission type of thing.
So we did have a rain barrel program before. It was run by the Conservation Commission. The biggest problem with the rain barrel program, I think most people would tell you, is we did not have a good place to store the rain barrels. So it was really contingent. We had one person on the Conservation Commission who was retired, who was willing to basically store rain barrels, I think, somewhere, and then when someone came and purchased one, they arranged to either go to where they had them stored to pick them up or coordinate delivery. I don't know how exact. I just know that it was very contingent on the fact that we had this volunteer that was able to coordinate the whole program at no cost. Because again, we just didn't have any place to store rain barrels. That's the biggest challenge of the whole thing, because they have to come here to pay for them.
You know how many they did?
I mean, you'd have to go back to records, because it was even before I was on the Conservation Commission. I think we finished it up when I was there, and like we were giving out the last couple barrels. Then Fred Pearson passed away. He was the volunteer coordinator, so obviously, we didn't keep it going. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 30 or 40, something in that range.
I have a question, those green 30 or 40 gallon and gallon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still got a couple of those, but they're still working.
But
Yes, it's the
Question was asking if we would want to do that program again. The Conservation Commission and the environment. Is that something you'd like to bring up with the Conservation Commission?
I can bring it up. We're pretty busy. I can't see us running the program. I wonder if there's outside vendors though, or something like that. Just if people ask about them, if there's someone we can point them to. Or the first thing that comes to mind is it going through the rec department or something, like they might have room to store it. But yeah, it doesn't sound like if it's going to be run through one single volunteer that it's going to be something that'll be able to be done. But I can bring it up.
Wonderful. The DPW, would they have space for storing things? Or
Yeah, I was trying to think, not a lot of space, but if we would certainly want to, I should speak for myself. Yeah, I would certainly want to coordinate if Conservation Commission is going to do something like that. We could probably make arrangements for like at least short-term storage. So if it's a, place your order, we have a purchase, and you have like a week to pick them up at DPW, we could certainly work something like that, but
Yeah.
we'll see where it goes when you bring it up at Conservation Commission. Just keep in mind, if anyone is interested in moving it forward, let me know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, Ellen might remember,
Yeah, I was thinking that.
because it might go, she certainly knew Fred, so she probably knew the program. Bill, did you get them from the Conservation Commission?
Remember,
Yeah.
and it can be very expensive.
Yeah.
No, I think we only charge like $30 or something like that. You certainly can get them at, you know, yeah.
The program is usually someone makes them and donates them to the town, right, I think, and then the town gets to sell them. I've heard it presented to me before in other meetings, but it
Yeah.
seems like it.
I got one years ago, I don't recall how we got it, but I remember it was like $30 range or something like
Yeah,
that.
it sounds right.
Yeah, and who knows, with inflation, right, it's probably gone up in price, but, yeah, I mean, see what they say, Joanna,
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of understand where you're coming from, there's a lot on your plate, and I just don't know what the capacity of any town staff, yeah, certainly they could take payments upstairs, but like, you know, actually distributing them and stuff like that, I
Yeah,
would
and-
not want to assume that you could get manpower to do that. That would be the big concern I would have. I'm thinking they're all pretty maxed out, so I don't think they're going to be able to actually hand them out for you.
I'll bring it up.
I mean, the only other thing I could think of is, like, if you did it at an event, right? Like, once a year, I know we have those hazardous chemical
Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day.
day. Is that once a year?
We're moving to once a year. It
Yeah.
had been once every 2 years.
Yeah, so if you coordinated it and said, do it the same day, and we'll have a X number of rain barrels, first come, first serve, or, I mean, you could try doing it that way.
And the Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day drop-off is at DPW, so
Yep, that's what I was
storing and
thinking.
pickup there would make
Yeah,
sense.
if you had them there in advance, but maybe you say,
You
or
order-
maybe you say you have to come and order one.
Yeah, you order one
Order it
beforehand.
before,
Order
yeah.
beforehand,
Paid
pay
for.
for it upstairs, then we have the right number. That way, at least you could say, we did offer them, you know, and if people take you up on it, it's kind of just like the hazardous chemical thing. If you choose to do it, you can take advantage of it.
So, take it, if you bring it up to the Conservation Commission, if that's something that they want to do, fine, that's good. And if they don't, then bring it back here and maybe we can do something.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Anybody have anything else?
I did. It did, well, one thing, both come from the Conservation Commission. Mark your calendars for May 10th, 2025. It's Turtle Fest, Newmarket Turtle Fest. And maybe the Energy and Environment Committee wants a table there. That's something I could definitely bring up. It is environmental related, but it's going to be a day full of events. And I'll be hosting a bird walk in the morning. Fish and Game is going to put out traps the night before, so we could hopefully look at some turtles along the rail trail there. But yeah, it's May 10th, 2025. We are planning that.
Where will that be?
Gosh, I think we're planning on having some of it in here and then around. Like the bird walk will be at Wigan Farm and the turtles will be at the rail trail. So I think based here, but we might have an outdoor location too. But we're just starting the planning. So
Sure, no, I'm
yeah,
just curious.
yeah, it's exciting. We're excited. There'll be T-shirts.
So it's not strictly turtles, it's
Yeah,
environment related and,
yeah, a lot of environmental related stuff, but based around turtles because Newmarket has that really important turtle crossing on Ash Swamp, so that's kind of what it's been inspired by to bring more awareness to the turtle population of Newmarket. And then other environmental concerns, all that water quality has to do with it, everything falls under.
so if we came up with something, potentially have something, and you're saying they're gonna have booths with?
Yeah, it sounds like we'll have some tables, yeah, and want community partners represented, yeah.
And where would that be? Do you have an idea yet?
I don't, if it's here or another location, I'm not entirely sure about all the details yet. We're in the big brainstorming phase right now. Yeah, got a few months. And the other thing that came up was I actually, and maybe I think this should go to the CPCNH board, is I don't know how much outreach they're doing, and I heard some complaints about unpleasant interactions about net metering when CPCNH staff were coming out to read meters. And what I heard, like the person said they had a conversation with them and it was very intense and not unpleasant. And she said that others that she talked to had similar experiences. Like there was like I guess maybe the best way to describe it is like I have a right to be on your property right now and with no warning or outreach beforehand.
That is not Community Power CPCNH people. I don't know.
That's who she believed it was and who they represented themselves as is what I heard. So if we could find maybe.
Because they don't read meters.
Yeah, that's what I didn't think they were, and it came
No,
up because I was saying we were figuring it
The
out.
only people we send out are to town meetings to, promote community power.
So I wonder who it was then.
Well, especially if they're on net metering, it's EverSource.
It should be EverSource, right? Yeah.
You can't do net metering with CP.
No, yeah, and it came up because I said we're trying to figure out net metering, right, for CPCNH. That's something that is being discussed, I think. And so then her response was, well, why were they reading my meters then? And
Because they don't read meters. So
Yeah.
I don't know what that's about.
So that was one Newmarket resident? And
it was one, and she said she had like 4 others respond to a post she put up and said they had similar experiences.
Was this a post on Facebook?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I know.
I didn't see it, because that's just not accurate. There's nothing accurate about that at all.
Yeah, I was confused by it, but I told her that I would bring it up. So yeah.
Well, you
Better ask
got the
for
right
ID
person here,
next
and I
time.
will certainly bring that up to the CPCNH.
Yeah.
And whatever, say, hey, somebody did this, and I'll try to find out. I'll
Yeah.
put something on Facebook and ask if
Tell her
anybody.
to ask for ID next time, doesn't sound legit.
Right, yeah, that would be a good point. But yeah, I promised I'd at least bring it along, because she was a bit upset about it, yeah. But I wonder who it was.
So they were reading meters and said, I have a right to be on your property, and. they
That's
were
what it
trying to
felt
sell
like
them?
just a push to, not sell, just like, she was like, what are you doing here? And they're like, oh, I have to do this, and very pushy about being on her property,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, EverSource will come onto your property to read meters. They don't always come onto your property to read a meter too, though. They have other ways of doing it, so.
They just drive up and down the
Yeah.
street, at least in my neighborhood.
Yeah,
now.
they don't have to actually go to your house to do
Mhm.
it, so that doesn't even sound accurate, like there's nothing about that.
Yeah.
that sounds
Or even the water department has those remote readers now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Nobody has to come on your property to read them.
yeah.
someone creeping around maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I promised I would bring it up, so if there's anything more to find out, she would appreciate it, but otherwise I'll tell her that's what I believe, the CPCNH is not going around reading meters right now. They're not even doing that metering, so there'd be no reason.
Okay, no, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Thanks for those statistics. The statistics I found enlightening, thanks.
Yeah, I didn't do a very good job of presenting them, but
No, it's fine. That's
I'll
fine.
I'll reformat it and send it around when I do the
Yeah,
minutes. I will
it gives us a pretty good overview of stuff, yeah.
get a better sense of what they are.
Cool.
Well, that's it. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second it.
Thank you all. Appreciate your showing
Thanks,
up.
Joe.
Good job.